AJ, what have practices been like in the first week and a half? What after the scrimmage? What are you guys kind of working on?
We're just building based off of the corrections we made from film. Everybody getting to the ball, making sure we're in alignment and assignment sound.
Coach Brown talked about tackling the other day. Has that been a big emphasis?
Yeah, every day. Before we head out to practice, we emphasize a couple of things on the board, and tackling's been one of those emphases.
You just mentioned that I guess there were 6 or 7 turnovers in the scrimmage. What was the result of that? Secondary play, just more hustle plays, or what was the result of that?
I would say both. Everybody getting to the ball, communicating, knowing their assignments, and playing fast.
How big is it for you guys to want to get on that hustle team?
It's pretty big. It's kind of cool. Every evening, so later this evening after we lift the weights and get in the cold and hot tubs, there'll be a hustle tape that shows who ran to the ball each and every day, so people try to strive to get on the following practice.
What's the environment in there like when you guys are watching that hustle tape?
It's exciting. Everybody's congratulating each other, lifting everybody up, and also motivating each other to get on it the next practice.
What's that competition like in the secondary? You guys, there's a lot of guys competing for time out there.
It's healthy competition. It's a good fluid rotation going on right now. Everybody trying to make plays every day.
You just feel like you guys have a lot of guys who could contribute when they find time on the field?
Yeah, for sure. Our two deep and first team are pretty strong as far as knowing what to do and getting to the ball as well.
When you get to this point, you've been at it a while, but it's still a pretty long time before that first game. It's kind of a really tough grinded out period. What motivates you? What do you use to get through these times?
Knowing what we went through last year is huge motivation, and then also trying to match the tempo of the coaches and how upbeat and enthusiastic they are. We try to pick each other up and lead in the same way that they're leading.
Coach Satterfield made the point that you're not going to improve at something you don't enjoy, so how do they make it enjoyable? And yet I know you're working hard.
Different things like playing music. We had a pretty young coaching staff for the most part, so everybody's well knit. We have different forms of competition to keep everybody going and make football fun and make it enjoyable. As you mentioned, we've been doing this for a while, so having different things to keep you going is nice.
Has there been somebody who stood out to you in the secondary? Is there somebody who's been, or just kind of?
Oh yeah, for sure. Russ East. Yeah, he's back there safety now. He's holding his own.
Hammy came past back there. I imagine you feel like you got a pretty good, safety net.
Yeah, it's a good trust factor having those two guys back there.
What's been the difference in Russ? And obviously, it sounds like there's a huge jump. He's getting a lot of compliments. What's the difference in him this year?
Russ, he runs to the ball full speed. He's a sure tackler. He communicates well, and he's got a good amount of turnovers up to this point.
Coach Brown's defense they force a lot of turnovers. Did it at Athens. Has there been anything that he's changed with you guys mentality-wise in secondary? Or is it just
if you make a mistake, go full speed. There'll be somebody behind you to correct it or correct you. Our job is to make each other right. So if we're all doing effort-wise, everything will correct itself.
Do you feel like that gives you guys a little more freedom?
Right,
for
sure.
All right.
Coach, what is the competition like in your room, and how have things kind of been the first week and a half, I guess?
Well, I think the competition's really high. I mean, we've got some guys, Kane Pass has played a lot of football, and, bringing, Rush East over from corner this spring. I think he's making some big strides. And I think some of our younger guys that we didn't really expect to do a lot have started to pick it up and make some plays. And I judge people based on, are you a playmaker or you're not. There's a fine line there of making plays and just being in the right spot, and we got some guys that are making plays. So I'm pleased after 9 practices in how we're progressing, but I'm still obviously, just like every coach, we got a long way to go.
What is the difference with Russ, and what did you guys see to make that move, I guess, to safety?
Well, I'm probably a little bit biased. I've known Russ since he's a little boy. He's from my hometown, and I saw him play Little League football and make other kids quit because he hit them so hard. And so I think the big thing for him was just to gain his love back. I think anytime you lose your love and your passion for whatever you do, you're not going to be as good at it. And he got that back. He's got his swagger back. I talk to my guys all the time about knowledge, and swagger allows you to play fast, and he's got that right now. And there's no reason he can't be an all-ACC type of player.
What are the characteristics that differentiate a cornerback from a safety? What makes one guy good at one thing and maybe not the other?
Well, I think obviously cornerbacks have to cover with a little less space. They got to be a little bit tighter on receivers, as opposed to safety. You have a little bit more space. And the way you see the ball, the ball comes at you at corner a lot of times from behind. So you got to locate the ball from behind. And then as a safety, the tackling aspect, you're into the box and you're into the run fit a pretty good bit, which makes it a lot more physical part of the game. And then at safety, you're the quarterback of the defense. You make a lot of the calls and a lot of the communications. That's probably the main things.
This may not be that relevant, but you mentioned knowing Craig as a little boy. Were you around for the LaFews?
Yeah, well, they're I don't want to tell my age, but yeah, the LaFews. I played Little League Baseball with Bobby and knew Travis, knew the whole family. So, yes, I know them very well.
I told my age by asking the question.
What for you? You mentioned some other guys. Anybody that has stood out that maybe you didn't expect, or any of the newcomers?
Yeah, well, Jack Fago is one that every day he flashes, and he's a walk-on guy that earned a scholarship this spring, and every single day he flashes. And what I mean by flash, you look on the tape and he's making a big play, and he's come along. He's a guy that has really stepped his play up, and I have no problem putting him in a ball game, and I think he can help us win, as well as Trinell Troutman. Trinell Troutman's a guy that didn't play a lot last year, that in the spring was lost as Hogan's GOAT. He was going everywhere, and now he knows where he's going and what he's doing, and he's making some tackles and being physical and making plays on the ball, so I'm pleased at his progress.
There's a lot of turnovers in the scrimmage. How much of that came from your group, and what was the cause of that?
Well, we've got a saying, if you want to make money playing football, you got to make plays on the ball. And so some of that was the defensive line getting great pressure on the linebackers, and the balls overthrown. We always say tips and overthrows. You got to get those. And so there were some overthrown balls, and we caught them. And we work a lot on finishing on plays, meaning catching the ball and making pass breakups. So I was pleasing to see those drills and things we've been focusing and harping on show up on the scrimmage field.
You got a lot of guys kind of fighting for some time. What is that competition been like between all those guys?
Well, I think the competition's been good. Today was the first day I started mixing and matching guys a little bit. What I mean by that is putting the 1 guys with the 2s and the 2s with the 3s, and kind of mixing and matching, because throughout the course of a year you'll have guys that get injured. And now 2 guys maybe have played together the entire year, and now all of a sudden he's playing with a new guy. And so I've been doing that. The competition's been positive and healthy. And the one thing that I love about our safety room is the guys all pull for each other. And that's a culture that we're trying to build within our room, is be for each and every guy. And we're a family, and we're a next man up mentality. If one guy gets hurt, we expect that next guy to go in there and make plays, and you do that by building confidence in each other.
Has the scrimmage helped you kind of narrow down a rotation of what you might want to put on the field, or you still kind of evaluating that?
Well, not yet. Other than those first 2, the first 2 guys I think are pretty solid. But other than that, down the 2s, 3s, those guys are still jockeying for position, and it'll come down to who's consistent and who can make plays.
Kane has played a lot of football here, and it seems like each time it's kind of like, okay, he's kind of the guy that nobody kind of mentions, and then he wins a spot every year, and it seems like he's just kind of consistent. Have you seen that?
Yeah, Kane's really intelligent. Kane's really smart. Even though he doesn't say anything, he could stand right here and you would not know he was there, because he's very quiet, but he's very intelligent, very football smart. And that's why Kane is kind of that old faithful. And so he's done a much better job this fall camp of making plays and being confident and going and attacking the ball. But I think he's played a lot of reps, because the coaches could always count on him to be in the right spot and get other guys lined up. And he's continuing to do that right now.
Those first 2 you said were pretty solid. Referring to?
Well, Russ and Kane are the starters right now. Russ at strong and Kane at free. Those 2 guys work really well together. Right now I do a voting depth chart, so the guys in the room voted those 2 guys as starters, and that's how we roll.
All right.
Your thoughts on how camp's progressing for you so far?
Camp's going really good. With its practice 9, everybody's coming out here, we're competing. in our position room. The cornerbacks are doing a lot of competing. You know, the depth chart's fluctuating every day. You got a different group of guys going with the ones and with the twos every day. So it's just daily competition out here.
When you do have that competition, how much does it make everybody better as you go along?
It makes everybody better. Nobody can get comfortable. A guy can't have a bad practice or have too many bad reps because he knows somebody's going to take his spot. So I think that pushes us to be a great secondary, gives us a lot of motivation to come out here and perfect our craft and go over the technique that Coach Brown is putting in.
Second week of camp, it's not new, it's not fresh, it's not exciting anymore. So how are these coaches keeping you focused and really excited to get on the field every day?
So every day, you know, we have this thing when we come in the team defensive meeting room called the Cardaway and the hustle tape. So everybody's trying to get on that Cardaway tape, get on the hustle tape. So we got guys flying around to the ball, got the D-line flying to the ball, linebackers flying to the ball, secondary flying to the ball. So trying to make that a tradition of, you know, getting on that tape and everybody seeing you on that tape lets you know that you're out here hustling.
How cool is that hustle tape?
That hustle tape's really fun, man. It lets you know, man, your hard work's not going unnoticed even when you think it is sometimes. Backside corner running all the way down on a toss play. It's really good to be on that hustle tape.
How much does that help get the motivation to get on that tape and it helps you when it comes game time?
It's definitely going to help come game times to never relax, to never give up on the play. You never know, a guy may break 30, 40 yards, but you're hustling to the ball, he strips it, you land on a fumble, scoop and score, and things can happen very quickly. But that hustle tape is very important, and it's given us a great culture as a defense to get to the football.
Coach Brown just mentioned he almost does like a voting system for the starters. How does that work, and how did it land on Russ and Kane?
So for Russ and Kane, they're in the safety room, and they're the starters right now, and they're playing very hard. They're making a lot of plays, and as teammates, we see them being consistent in their work. They're knowing their playbook, they're talking and communicating, and that's why they're the 1s and 2s. So it's first free safety and strong safety.
Is that voting system a little unique, you think?
It's very unique. To know what your teammates think about you, not just your coaches. To see how a room and you get critiqued by your peers, which sometimes can be a little bit better than always getting coached from a coach. To hear from someone your age and that you can relate to, and that you go to these same drills and you're in practice with every day. So that voting system is a really unique idea to set the depth up.
Is the voting anonymous?
Yes, the voting is anonymous. There's no names on the chart, except for when you see the number of the person that's not on there, you kind of get an idea of who that is.
When you in the corner room, anybody that has impressed you that maybe we haven't heard a lot about?
Marlon Characters definitely have impressed me a lot. He's done a very good job of just being a great football player. He's getting the playbook down very well. He's making a lot of plays, and he's done an outstanding job this camp so far.
What do you think you've improved on from this time last year, and then when spring got here?
I think I really improved on being comfortable in my technique. I think I gained a little more weight, gave me a little more physical capacity, making me play a little bit more physical, trusting my technique more and my press coverage, and those things have helped me.
Are you getting on the hustle tape?
Yes, sir. I've been on the hustle tape. Hopefully I make it today.
What about the guys you're lined up against? What's the receivers looking like in practice?
The receivers are looking really good. They're giving us a lot of good route combinations with that fast tempo offense. They're getting off the ball. They're giving us a lot of different stems, running the same kind of routes from the same position, but going out cuts. They've done a really good job with their new coach, Coach Brewer. He's doing a good job with that receiver group.
A lot of praise thrown towards Tutu. What's he like? I mean, is that speed just unreal when he's out there in the open field?
Yeah, it's really hard to guard Tutu if you don't get your hands on him, man. So we try to get our hands on him and contain him and keep him in front of us at all times.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.